The following is a production of the Department of Broadcasting at Western Illinois University.
Live from Salee Hall in high definition. News 3 starts now.
We have breaking news from Macomb this morning. After a 9-month investigation into the suspicious death of Ramon Doyle, the state's attorney's office says they will not be filing charges against his roommate, Sean Davis. Davis was involved in a fight with Doyle on the night of Doyle's death.
State's Attorney James Hoyle says the investigation shows Davis was defending himself against an attack by Doyle and was justified in the use of deadly force. Good morning, Macomb. I'm Emily Manley.
And I'm Shanae Glasgow. Macomb police tell us that Doyle's family has been notified of this decision. Check News3's WIU.com for more information on this story. We'll bring you continued coverage of this story as it develops. Moving on to more local news, Amtrak is adding another train to its Chicago-Quincy line for the Thanksgiving holiday. On November 30th, Amtrak will add a third train to its schedule of trains traveling from Chicago to Quincy. The train will work as a midday trip and leave Union Station at 11:30 a.m. The train is scheduled to arrive in Macomb around 3 p.m. The added train is planned to relieve the crowds Amtrak receives from students coming back to school from the Thanksgiving holiday. The McDonough County Highway Department is going to be short on salt this winter. Maintenance Superintendent Dave Caldwelder says that usually the county is part of the state salt bid, but they were dropped this year because of the low supplies across the nation. The county went out on their own to purchase salt and was only able to purchase half of the amount they had last year. The county currently has 500 tons of salt and paid about $120 per ton, as opposed to the $50 per ton they paid in years past through the state. Cadwalder said that hills, intersections, and curves will be treated with the most salt, and flat roads with good visibility will have more sand and chips to help keep drivers safe. He is asking drivers to be patient with this winter as crews have more than 180 miles of road to treat.
Flu shots are now available in Macomb after a recent shortage in the area. The McDonough County Health Department is offering flu shots and flu mist for $25. Children must be accompanied by a parent or guardian. Contact the McDonough County Health Department for available times or to schedule an appointment.
Former First Ward Alderman Ryan Hansen has been chosen to manage Spring Lake Park. At Monday night's City Council meeting, Hansen spoke to News 3 on what upcoming plans he has in store for Spring Lake. Starting December 1st, the Spring Lake website will be available to all. The online reservation system for the shelters, the calendar, and the social media page will be up and running.
A month ago, we reported on a predator sighted at Spring Lake Park. We sent a picture of what appeared to be a bobcat to the Department of Natural Resources. However, city officials took a look at it and they said that the animal appeared to be just a large house cat. This week, a video taken by a resident in the McDonough County may change that ruling. This video taken by Colma residents shows what appears to be a bobcat caught in a trap. According to the Facebook page, the bobcat was caught Tuesday night. The Colma residents say they were told by the DNR that if the bobcat wasn't released, they would have to kill it. According to the Facebook page, the bobcat was released and was unharmed by the trap. Deer hunting season is just about here, which means food pantries across the region can start adding deer meat to their menus. The Western Illinois Regional Council's annual program, Hunters Helping the Hungry, allows hunters to donate their deer meat to feed those in need. The WIRC distributes thousands of pounds of meat each year to food pantries during the hunting season. Susan Nash with the WIRC says the program has been quite a success since it started 25 years ago.
You know, the program has just grown over the years from, very small, where we received like 500 pounds of donated deer, to 1 year we received 25,000 pounds. And it's been a wonderful program, and we get some very, very positive feedback, and, we really enjoy it.
The meat will be given to food pantries in McDonough, Warren, Henderson, and Hancock County.
The WIU ROTC Rifle and Pistol Team is encouraging you to take aim at hunger in Macomb. The annual Turkey Shoot fundraiser will be back in Horban Hall's indoor shooting range. One target is $1 or one non-perishable food item. 6 targets are $5 or 5 non-perishable food items. Prizes will be awarded to the best shot. The event is to raise money for the team and raise food for the food pantries around Macomb. The numbers are in for the 5K race held at WIU that raises funds in honor of fallen soldiers. The 3rd annual Fallen Soldiers race broke its previous record for participants with 509 runners last month. Last year, the race had more than 450 runners and raised more than $16,000. Organizers say this year's race brought in more than $20,000 for the Fallen Soldiers Fund. Money raised for the race is awarded to veterans and service members currently enrolled at WIU. Following up from a story we brought to you last week, 30 American flags were stolen from that fallen soldier's 5K. Nearly a month later, no flags have been recovered. Retired U.S. Army Captain and WIU faculty member Lieutenant Colonel Mick Cumby has offered a personal reward to anyone that has information leading to the arrest of those responsible for the thefts. A year after one of the most powerful tornadoes struck central Illinois, NEWS3 travels to Washington, Illinois, and discusses with the community on rebuilding their lives.
I just can't express how thankful I am.
One family opens up to us about the most important phone notification of their lives, the one warning them of an impending danger. That's coming up next.
And despite the sunshine outside, we're pretty cold. Temperatures are only in the upper teens. We do have snow in the forecast for your weekend. We'll have a look at your full forecast in a couple minutes.
Now from Macomb in high definition, you're watching Shanae Glasgow, Franny Smith, weather with meteorology major Nicholas Stewart, and sports with Tyler Eddy. News 3 continues.
That is truly what saved our lives. We had probably less than 5 minutes, 7 minutes max maybe, from the time I got that till when we came down and were standing in our basement.
You're hearing from Anna Kelly of Washington, Illinois. Her home was leveled by an EF4 tornado on November 17th. Kelly is talking about a weather alert she received on her phone that morning.
News 3 visited the Kelly family at their new home that was built on the foundation of the previous one. They started the rebuilding process in January, but they finished up in May.
Nearly a year later, the Kellys have a much different outlook on life.
I sat down and spoke with Kelly and her husband, Jeff, about the unusual November day.
It's generally not tornado season, but generally in the, second, third week of November, you're not sitting with your windows open either, so anything can happen. It's just trying to be as prepared as you can, and taking those warnings seriously. I mean, that was the first and the only weather alert I've ever gotten on my phone.
I'm a little more sensitive to storms.
Yeah,
Whereas before I wasn't, I'd say there's a storm. Now I'm a little more aware of what's going on. I'm checking the Weather Channel to make sure it's not real severe. It's just rain or a little thunderstorm. But you're more, you're on edge. Mm-hmm. And it takes time to get over that. I mean, I've gotten better over the past year, but I'm not completely over it. Probably never will be.
I used to love storms. I used to love thunderstorms and stuff like that, and I'm not even supposed to watch the Weather Channel anymore. It makes me so anxious.
Oh, wow.
Just worrying about what could happen versus what probably will happen is a lot more traumatic for me. We didn't even have we didn't have television on, we didn't have anything on. I was resting and he was actually he had just got home from the store and was cleaning the floors.
Yeah, I was getting ready to clean the house and then I was going to watch the Bears play.
I mean, it was just one of those things that just came out of nowhere.
Joining us now is Nicholas Stewart with a look back on that Sunday morning. Now, Nick, can you tell us what type of tornado did destroy Washington?
Yep, so the tornadoes are based on essentially the damage they produce. We call this the EF scale, so it's EF0 through EF5. And a lot of people believe that it's rated purely on the winds that they produce, but it's actually we rate them by the damage they produce because the radar that we have cannot see like the very lowest area of the tornado. And so Dr. Fujita back in 1971 devised a scale based on the damage that these tornadoes produce to actually be able to rate them. So Washington was considered an EF4, a high-end EF4, which is winds near 200 miles per hour. This was actually rated 190 miles per hour. And the threshold for an EF5 is 200 miles per hour. So the Washington tornado was just under the threshold for being that EF5 tornado. And that's mainly because Washington didn't have any major structures be hit. For example, Joplin, back in 2011, the tornado actually took aim on a concrete reinforced steel building. It actually moved off its foundation, the hospital. And so that was able to give the Joplin tornado that EF5 rating. And more, for example, you also had in Oklahoma last year, May of last year, you had these houses like clean off their foundation, so you had nothing left. With Washington, you at least had some portions of houses left. You had like either at least a wall standing or you had a fireplace standing. So that's kind of why Washington was just underneath that EF5 threshold.
So can you tell us, did like the Weather Service see any signs of this going to be such a horrific Sunday? Any warning?
Yeah, the National Prediction Center, the National Weather Service and the Storm Prediction Center, they outlined an area upwards of 5 days out regarding talking about the risk for severe weather. So the graphic you have up there right now, that's the day 4 outlook issued several days in advance. And as we go through the days coming up to the event, it was upgraded to a slight risk. 3 days ahead of time. Then 2 days before, they upgraded to a moderate risk, which for November is quite rare. You don't see them very often, especially in our neck of the woods in November. But the day before, or the morning of, I should say, around 8 a.m., they issued a very rare high risk. And the high risk for severe weather, when you see these, even in springtime, that's when you really need to start taking these tornado precautions very seriously. So there was very good model agreement on the fact that there were going to be very dangerous storms that day, and unfortunately it did verify.
How did the Weather Service alert the people of Washington?
Okay, so it all started off that morning around, I believe it's 8:40 in the morning. They issued the first tornado watch, which included a very large swath of Illinois. And this was over 2 hours in advance before any storms even really started to fire. So the watch was issued at 8:40 a.m. It's called a particularly dangerous situation, or PDS tornado watch. And those are also rare. So they're starting to see a trend here. A lot of these things are very rare. So you had a PDS tornado watch issued, which called for long track, significant tornadoes that could produce, devastating damage. And then leading up to actually when the storm started to fire, we had the first storms going up. We had our first tornado warning issued at 10:50 in the morning. This was Doppler indicated at the time. The tornado had not touched down yet. It was 9 minutes later that a tornado actually touched down. So before there was even a tornado on the ground, the people had 9 minutes of warning. And that warning at 10:50 warned the residents of Washington, even mentioned Washington, it might approach Washington by about 10:05. At 11 a.m., they issued another warning, mentioning again that Washington could be hit by 11:05. At this time, they still did not know that there's a tornado on the ground, but the radar indication was very, very indicative. You had these very tight velocity couplet, which is basically, you can see on radar the winds. And when you see winds like circular pattern in an area, that's kind of when you know that there's probably going to be a tornado forming. And then just as the tornado was moving into Washington, they issued another warning. They upped the language considerably, and that's what you heard on what she saw on her phone, considerable damage expected. The warning stated, quote, confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado. This is a particularly dangerous situation. So the warnings were very, very strict and very, very stern in their wording. So they had plenty of warning in advance. So
now with winter on the way, after we've seen quite a amount of tornadoes hit over the past few years, what type of advances have the Weather Service made to alert people?
Well, we're always trying to find ways to improve warning. One thing that the National Weather Service is doing, they're really starting to push towards social media a lot more. So Facebook and Twitter, they're putting all the different alerts through that to try and warn people, trying to reach more people. And then the one that she actually got the text on her phone, it's called the WEAS alert, or Wireless Emergency Alert. And that was fairly new. I believe only 2 or 3 years ago they started organizing this. And so that's another way to reach a very large population. Of course, the broadcast media, the EAS alerts on their television as well, they had those warnings.
All right. Well,
thanks, Nick.
Thank you, Nick, for joining us and for your insight on these tornadoes. Coming up on Tuesday, you can join us live at 4, and we will have more coverage of the 1-year anniversary of the Washington tornado.
We expect a little taste this weekend of what is to come this winter season. Don't touch your remote or change the browser. Nick will be right back with your weather.
Stories. They happen everywhere. At News 3, we go the distance and tell them firsthand. Across the region,
the tornado tore through a neighborhood in Washington, Illinois.
Across the state.
Here's the state capitol in Springfield for the gubernatorial race.
Across generations.
We have a lot of people that are very dedicated. We're all volunteers.
The stories that inform us, the stories that move us, the stories that matter from a fresh perspective.
Taking a look outside of the Courthouse Square right now, we are looking at mostly sunny skies, but it's a very cool one out there. Temperature-wise, we're only at 18 degrees. Very high humidity values up to 18%, but thankfully the winds aren't as strong as they have been in days past. Only about 10 miles per hour, so it's not making it feel too brutal out there. Take a look at the current satellite radar composite. We're mostly clear across the state of Illinois. We got a few flurries kind of around central Illinois, but mostly clear conditions. We're looking at our next weather maker far off to our west. There's kind of this clipper system moving in across Nebraska. This is going to be our snow chances for the weekend. We'll have more on that in just a moment. Taking a look at temperature-wise, again, we're very cool out there. All these pinks, that's indicative of teens. We're looking at only 17 in Davenport, 13 in Des Moines, 18 in Kansas City. Those cold temperatures, unfortunately, are here to stay for at least the next several days. So it's going to be pretty cool out there. And that's because we have the area of high pressure off to our south. While it's making us very clear, it's clearing out most of the snow flurries and most of the cloud cover. We are looking at a very cool air kind of moving in from the north. So this is also being reinforced by the snowpack up to our north, modifying the air, making it even colder. So we're dealing with very cold temperatures. We go into later today, the high pressure really kind of solidifies across areas off to our west. Again, keeping conditions mostly clear for us. But then moving into tomorrow, high pressure moves on off to our east. Puts us a little bit in the warm sector, increase our humidity values just a little bit, and this will be pretty good help for making for some snow this weekend. And this is something we haven't seen quite some time in the Midwest. All these pink and purple shaded counties here, these are winter weather advisories calling for a few inches of snowfall that extends all the way from the Dakotas into Illinois. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a few more of these counties fill in through the day today. But again, we're not looking at a major snow event, just a couple inches here and there. Here's our latest morning model run of the weather models. Almost see like this hole right here in Macomb. Again, we almost looks like we're going to escape the most of it again. Most falls off to our north, about 2 to 3 inches off to our north, and then also off to our south in the Kansas City area. So a light dusting to maybe an inch. And these cold temperatures are really just going to pool because the jet stream digs very far south. And a very strong low pressure up in the upper atmosphere, really digging that jet stream very far south, bringing in that very cold air as we go into the weekend. For today, we're looking at mostly sunny skies. We'll only get up to about 29 degrees. We're not even going to hit freezing. Getting winds about 10 miles per hour. For tonight, we'll get down to about 15 with partly cloudy skies. And the 5-day forecast, we're not looking at really much improvement at all. We don't even hit really above freezing at all like the next several days. 31 on Sunday, your chances of snow on Saturday and Sunday with cooler temperatures into the beginning of next week. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Nick.
That's really cold. I do not like that. But thank you, Nick. Sports is up next. Tyler will have a preview of all the Leatherneck action this weekend. Both basketball programs open their regular season. The men's team is gearing up to take on Pacific, and the women's team will take on Mizzou.
And the Western Illinois football team will look to sweep the season in South Dakota. All that and more is still ahead on Good Morning Macomb.
Good morning, Western Illinois. Due to severely cold weather in Denver, the Summit League tournament had to be pushed back a day. The men's soccer team was supposed to be in action yesterday, but they will now play Oral Roberts University today at noon Central Time. Meanwhile, 2 members of the soccer team have received Player of the Year honors for their performances on the field this season. Seniors Charlie Bales and Eves Dietrich have been named Summit League Defensive Player of the Year and Goalkeeper of the Year, respectively. Also in action today will be the host Denver Pioneers against the Fort Wayne Mastodons at 3 p.m. Central Time. The Summit League Championship game will take place at 2 p.m. Sunday afternoon. The Western Illinois men's basketball team will tip off their regular season tonight against Pacific right here in Macomb. The team is coming off an 82-48 exhibition win over Cornell College. WIU got off to a hot start with an incredible 32-6 run to start the game. The Leathernecks never fell behind and were led by sophomore Mike McClusack, who tallied up 14 points. As a team, the Leathernecks finished with more rebounds, 3-pointers, and assists. However, statistically, that game doesn't mean anything, and the team will set their sights on Pacific tonight at Western Hall. Tip-off for the game against the Tigers is set for 7 p.m. The worldwide leader in sports, ESPN, has named women's basketball forward Ashley Luke as one of the top 10 mid-major school players in the country. Luke and the team will travel south to Columbia, Missouri to take on the Mizzou Tigers tomorrow afternoon. Luke is just one of 4 returning players who averaged at least 20 points per game and 10 rebounds per game a season ago. Standing at 6'1", Luke is considered an undersized mid-major forward, but her play certainly doesn't show it. She recorded a double-double in the exhibition game against the Cardinals, and 2 other players scored in double figures. Tori Neiman played 23 minutes against the Cardinals and racked up 14 points. Saturday's contest will be a homecoming of sorts for Neiman. She played at Mizzou for 2 years before transferring to Western in 2012. Tip-off is set for 2 p.m. Now to football, where just 64.1 miles will separate where the Leathernecks won big last week and where they're looking to win again tomorrow. WIU ran away with the game in the second half against the Coyotes in Vermilion, South Dakota last week. Tomorrow will be a much different scenario for 2 reasons. 1, the South Dakota State Jackrabbits don't play indoors, and 2, the Jackrabbits are also the 19th ranked team in the country. SDSU will be the 7th ranked team the Leathernecks will face in 2014, which is the most ranked opponents WIU has ever played in a single season. The Western Illinois offense will be led by sophomore quarterback Trenton Norvell, who is the reigning Offensive Player of the Week. Kickoff for the game in Brookings is set for 2 p.m. And it's time for the News 3 Play of the Day. Today's Play of the Day comes from the Bulls and Raptors game last night. Raptors off to a hot start. And Grievous, he would take it. He finds Grievous Vasquez, who finds James Johnson for the nasty slam dunk. And take another look as Vasquez draws the nice no-look pass to Johnson, and he knows how to finish. Right there, that's beautiful. The Raptors take home the Play of the Day. And the Bulls would go on to win that game, but Derrick Rose left late with a hamstring injury. So the Bulls are barely squeaking by this season. They've had a lot of injuries, Joakim Noah, Jimmy Butler, and also Derrick Rose. So it's kind of tough without them out there on the court, but they're getting by.
I was going to say, I watched a few games this week, and they are getting by, even though Derrick Rose the other night, I think it was Monday night, kind of took a fall, and it didn't look too good, but it looked like everybody got up and everyone took a deep breath after that. So thank you, Tyler.
You're welcome.
We'll be right back with your final weather after the break.
Yeah, despite the sunny skies, we're going to look at temperatures only getting up to about 29 degrees today. West winds about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight's going to be another cold one, only 15 degrees, partly cloudy skies. West winds about 5 miles per hour. Again, the 5-day forecast, the only day above freezing is tomorrow, but that's when we get our snow chances. About an inch of snow, maybe just a little bit more into Sunday as well. But temperatures really cool off for the start of the work week on Monday, only 23 degrees as a high. So it's going to be very, very brutal for the next several days.
Nick, I don't know what I need to do, if there's a little box that I can put my opinion in or something, but I'm not liking this at all.
If we have the option to vote this weather out, I would gladly agree with you. So.
Well, let me know when you get one of those.
I don't like the cold, but I do like the snow. Sometimes it's pretty.
Yes, the snow, I can deal with the snow right off the bat, but I don't like it after a prolonged effect. So.
Well, thanks, Nick. That'll do it for us this morning. For Nicholas Stewart, I'm Shanae Glasgow.
And for Tyler Eddy, I'm Emily Manley. We're going to stay on top of your news over the weekend and bring you the latest updates Tuesday, live at 4.
Until then, we're always online and on social media. Have a good morning, Macomb.